Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Power Driven Podcast. Today, we're talking about going fast, going real fast, faster than I've ever gone, faster than you've ever gone, honestly. And you just kick butt.
I've gone faster, but I did win my first competition, drag race competition.
You pretty much just dominated the day. It was awesome. We took 10,000 horsepower to Montana.
Now, how do you come up with 10,000 horsepower?
So we had a 12-hour drive. And so I was just sitting there thinking like, dude, I was like watching Todd tow in front of me. I'm like, dude, there's like 3,500 horsepower in that unit, that trailer, just going down the road. I was like, I guess I'm doing pretty good too. I was like, wow, we're almost 8,000 between us. I was like, if Will had a cool truck, we could probably be 10. And I was like, wait a minute. I was like, actually, like by the time, because I was just rounding everything to like the nearest horsepower, like 1,800 instead of like the 1,816, and like 1,800 for me instead of 1,856. And I was like, started actually doing the math in my brain. I was like, no, we've got it. I was like, like Uncle Rico's not a slouch. It still does 1,600. So you got like 2,100 horsepower in your trailer, or your
combo
tow truck plus trailer. What's in the trailer?
I was like, dude, we got 10,000. So I did the math, and I used dyno numbers from our actual dyno, like on our dyno, whatever we've done on our dyno. And I think it was like 9,996 or something. And I was like, well, Todd's truck, like track timed 200 horsepower above my dyno. What his dyno was. I was like, let's just call it 10.
Yeah. So what are you saying? Like when you run the calculation on my ET or my mile an hour on my fast pass, it puts me around 2,000 horsepower. Not the 1,800 that I downloaded here, which the 1,800 didn't make the video because our video guy had to go. But before I went to the race, we did some nitrous tuning, and my truck did 1,816 horsepower on the dyno.
So 1,816 horsepower to the tire.
Yes.
And how much boost was that?
That was like 130. Yep.
Solid number.
Yeah.
I think in the words of my friend Inferno C, hermano.
I'm flattered.
I hear that all the time. I still don't know what that means.
It's Spanish for hell yeah, brother.
Oh,
Inferno C, hermano is hell yeah, brother.
But like
Inferno C, hermano.
Hermano is brother, yeah.
In English, it like makes sense. You know, hell yeah, brother. In Spanish, they're just like, what?
In Spanish, they like roll their eyes like, you don't speak Spanish.
They think we're idiots.
But for now,
and it's true.
So Inferno sounds like hell.
Yes.
C is the word for yes. Yeah. So
hermano.
Hell yes, brother.
All right, Inferno C, hermano. It's the new saying.
And we shortened it to Inferno C.
Oh, just Inferno C?
Yeah, it's just, hermano's too long to say, so.
Anyway.
And if it was a girl, you'd have to say hermana, and it's too complicated.
All right, but so anyway. So
English, we don't have masculine and feminine words, so it's too complicated for us.
For those who are actually watching this podcast, not just listening to it, you'll notice the background has changed because my broken race truck is no longer behind us. It's so amazing. It's actually not broken, mostly. In the race trailer.
Different states of broken,
but we do want to talk about it. So we did a video recently. We were kind of showing you the prep we were going through to get ready for this race. We all three did a bunch of changes to the truck, and it was a lot of work. Like for me,
some of our listeners have no idea what our trucks are, so I think you should do just a quick rundown.
Okay,
just basic. What rough model year is your truck? What kind of rough engine does it?
You start.
All right. So I have a 95 4-wheel drive. We call Uncle Rico. You know, it's the has-been truck, you know, used to throw big skin quarter mile.
So it's a has-been, and because we named it that, because it's probably done better before than it ever will again. But ultimately, you proved that wrong.
Because it's an old UCC truck that Josh McCormick bought from a guy in Alabama and took to UCC. And then he tried to convert it to a common rail, got half common rail swapped. And then I ended up with it. It's like, oh, this is a perfect grudge truck. And it looks just like the Junker drag truck. Because it's the same color, but it's actually 4-wheel drive. So anyway, so my truck is a 95 4-wheel drive. I'm running a true 12-valve block. I've sleeved it. Long story short, I'm having trouble with block failures, and that hasn't changed. But so I'm running the only 12-valve in the crowd, 12 millimeter P pumps, a regular 215 pump, like you could get off this, out of a.
Buy off of powerdriven.com.
Yeah, we offer this very pump, and it's
Stage
making
3.
big power.
And right there about high 600 cc pump and a little bit of nitrous and compound turbos. I've got a big, 100 millimeter Garrett on there, GT55 style turbo, and a 472. So S400 on the manifold.
And it runs good. It makes about mid 14s on fuel, 14-ish on fuel, and like 16 something with a one basic kit. Yeah. So it does good.
And I try to run 590 index in the 8th mile. That's about a mid 9-second quarter mile. So it's about a mid 9-second truck, which is fun. It feels plenty fast.
Yeah. And then your changes since the last time you had it out, we Well, I made a steering column for my truck, and I just kind of like, I designed it all out and then just had 2 made. And I was like, oh, I'll just give one to Will. Well, we did that. We kind of got rid of the way he was mounting his gauge cluster. And instead of trying
my key and like factory wiring harness. And so the truck's kind of like been in various stages of like remodel over the years as different owners have had it. And so it's kind of zip tied up. But anyway, next thing you know, all the wiring's just laying on the floor. And Meyer's like, we should get you a little screen so you actually have a speedometer and it's a little bit cleaner, not so janky.
Yeah. And then you can have all your boost. I just wanted some basic thing to have basic form of data logging. So you could watch your boost, watch your drive. Like having drag racing is fun, but when you can drag race and then go back in the pits and see exactly what just happened to figure out any anomaly, get your data, like when you're trying to innovate, like it helps. You need that. And so it makes drag racing way funner, being able to go back and look at your data. And so I was like, yeah, you just need something basic, replace all your gauges with digital dash. That way you can watch it back in the pits and see what just happened.
And I'm a data junkie. All the time I give people stuff. I was like, here, test this. All I want is the data. And they like tease me about it. Like, but really all I want is the data. And my own race truck never had data. So you can tell that this is it didn't take much convincing to be like, all right, let's put a data logger in it.
Yeah.
So we put a fuel tech in there.
Yep, we put a fuel tech. So we did that for data logging. You wanted shock travel sensors and everything. So that was cool. We put all that stuff in. I think you have like 14 channels. Like that was the base fuel tech or one of the base lower level fuel techs. But we got 14 channels, filled them with all the stuff, boost, drive, all the data, as well as we have AFR now. We have EGTs intake or EGTs intake before the intercooler, after the intercooler. So that's all like pretty cool.
Boost, oil pressure. The big thing was crankcase pressure. Now, I've never had this data before, and we knew going in, my truck was down a little bit on power and is making 8 pounds of crankcase pressure on the dyno, which generally is like rebuild territory on like a common rail. And so I didn't know if it's just my 12-valve block moves around a little bit or if it was getting tired. It was getting tired.
Yeah.
Very, very tired.
And then, so aside from the data logging, we also added the fuel techs doing your nitrous control now, though, too. Because in the past, I mean, you're just sitting there holding buttons and grabbing buttons going down the track. And, you know, if you're trying to go as fast as you can, like, okay, maybe you're trying to fender race someone, cool. But, like, if you're trying to be consistent, like that 590 index, like having it just automatically come up and spool you, having it automatically just come up from the line, like, it's so nice having to do that. Like we've seen that with Todd's. And so I was like, okay, you need to, while we're doing this, it'd be very easy to just have it control some relays, have it control the nitrous. And so we did that as well. And then what else? I think that's, oh, and we did some transfer case stuff. We put a new shifter in there for you. Converted to the later style shifter, like your 99 style shifter. It's so much nicer. If you're drag racing.
Yeah, if you're ever building a drag race truck, do not have a pre-90, a 94, 95, 96 transfer case. It's terrible. You don't know if you're in 4-wheel drive or not, and it's a fight. It was like a stress. It made me a worse racer because I was stressing at the starting line. Am I actually in 4-wheel drive? Where this one, clunk.
No joke. When you were complaining about it the first time, I kind of thought you were a prima donna. And I still do, but for other reasons. But then I had to drag race. And then I was drag racing mine. I'm like, yeah, this is actually terrible. So I converted mine, converted yours. Anyway, yeah, definitely a pro tip. Like swap your transfer case if you can.
So I just basically came in with data logger. That's my 95. And I mean, just a quick recap. I'm trying to race 590. My best pass ever has been a 6.0. I've never even been in the 5s. And my first qualifying run, I ran a 575, personal best, dude, 121. And it's not because I poured the nitrous out the back. I used to trap 120 mile per hour. So I was up 1 mile per hour. So
but it's just the nitrous from the hit just really
that's
set
like
the
25
chassis.
Horsepower, but
What was your 60 foot?
60 foot on leaf springs, 135.
Yeah. That's freaking
holy
booking. That's awesome.
And people are like, man, what tires do you have? You must be your tires. So I looked at the date code on my tires. 3 of them are 2017 date code and 1 is 2015 date code. They don't even make those Hoosiers anymore. So yeah, the secret is like 10-plus-year-old tires that they don't even make anymore.
Yeah. I mean, you got
the QuickTime Pros anymore?
They make them, but not in that size with a 16-inch rim. So I have to either drop down to 15 or go up to 17s. They do not make a 16-inch QuickTime Pro Hoosier anymore.
That's great. Yeah. I mean, it's not like you have a plain Jane suspension. You did some custom crap in there trying to make it all work.
A little bit. I mean, it's just got regular traction bars, but I angled them steeper to give it some bite so it'll
can't
separate.
Like I'm over here cutting 1.5s. Like Dude, all power to you. I mean, your mile an hour was the same as mine.
You were faster.
I was faster, so I was putting more power down, going 0.3 slower. That's awesome.
Yeah, I think when your truck leaves, it's super fun to watch. It gets a little out of sorts, just a little bit, but it recovers quick.
I want to.
It's the back end hits to the right a little bit, and then you just drive out of it, and it's just smooth. But it's violent, but very controlled. It's actually really fun to watch.
Now, truth be told, we bought race scales. I've never even scaled it. It might kick to the right because the back right tire might have 100 more pounds on that corner. Like, I don't even know.
That's awesome.
Has an anti-roll bar. I've never adjusted it. Just sitting there neutral. So I got all this cool stuff to adjust it, and man, you put a data logger, nitrous, and it just starts working all on its own.
Yeah.
So
the problem is you've never had a truck that the engine lasts long enough to start actually worrying about that. That's always been like, I'd like to worry about that, but I need an engine. So
that is true.
That has been your main problem.
Anyway, in that first pass, what happened is little smoke came out from under the hood as I lifted. When I got back, it had built enough crankcase pressure. It pushed the valve cover gasket out on number one. It just lifted and sprayed a little oil. I thought, no big deal. Well, then I came back and there's a trail of transmission fluid and found out in our haste working on the truck wiring it, I had left a transmission cooler line on the front drive shaft, and so it had rubbed through. And I thought maybe this new transfer case Meyer had built me had broke. I was like, dude, what'd you do to my transfer case? And he's like,
I was questioning. that your transfer case is the most custom transfer case I've ever messed with because it's a hybrid of 3 different ones trying to get the right combination of parts. And I was like, dude, I probably did something wrong, man. I probably mismeasured something didn't work. Nope. I was like, it's just
because it's a DHD, DLD. It has a speedo. I mean, it's like it's a Frankenstein hodgepodge of a T case.
Yeah.
No low range.
Yeah, exactly. It has DLD parts, DHD parts with no low range, and it's the older style with the speedo, newer style shifter. Like it was all supposed to work. Measuring it all was going to work, but I was like, dang, maybe I was wrong.
It worked flawless.
Worked great.
Anyway, so by the time I had gotten my line fixed that had drug on there and figured it out, and I basically just shortened the line. It was close enough to the end that they were calling up for the next round of qualifying. And so all I did was fix the valve cover gasket, sprayed the oil off that was on there, fixed the trans, topped off the trans, fixed the tranny line, and I went back up not knowing.
You were the first one to go, right? After you went your 575 pass, then Meyer lined up right behind you. Mm-hmm. And so while he's back in the pits, you're getting up, line up, and so I'm behind you because I'm in Pro Street, so I'm watching you go. Mm-hmm. And Meyer has done a ton of stuff. So tell us about what is your truck? What are some of the stuff you did to it this winter? I guess summer. This
last year.
Last year.
So my truck originally started as Papasaurus. It's that 410,000 mile 12 valve truck.
It's a 96.
It's a 96. Yep.
White.
It's half white now. So I common rail swapped it, put a 6.7 in there. It's got a 48. And it's got one of our 480s on the manifold with a big G57 106 on the atmosphere. It's got one of our new test blocks, test heads, test cranks. Like it's a whole test motor that we built because I cracked my old one.
That's that new induction hardened.
It's working great.
Induction hardened head.
And so I went out with all that stuff last year, and I was just having problems with. We were trying some new trans stuff, and I just had some issues with it. And I was like, okay, I need to make this thing better. And then I raced the Junker this spring in Arizona, and I was like, the Junker was awesome because I could just get in it, do a pass, put it back in the pits, and then just leave it and then go race it again. Like I wasn't worried about it at all. It was super reliable. I was like, I need this. So over the last 6 months, I've really pushed. So last year I put a data logger in it so I could see what was going on. I put a bunch of new sensors in it, did some like custom sensors I don't think anyone has yet, so we can see data that I don't think anyone else has. Either way, it's really cool to be able to see it, to have that data. But in the last 6 months, I've also done a bunch of weight savings on it. I did a bed, I got the cab, basically anything I did lightweight brakes, like anything I could do to like get it to be lighter weight. That was easy enough. I was doing. So I think we got it down. Last time I raced it was like 5,800 pounds. Basic math based off the last time I weighed it, it should be like 4,950 now, which is pretty solid. Like that's,
you haven't scaled it, but you weighed stuff as it's coming off.
Yeah,
on a
last
small
time I weighed
scale.
it, I was 50-50. And so I did lightweight brakes and a couple small things like that. Or lightweight brakes in the front and a couple small things. So I should be right there in that 4,950 range.
Now, are you saving up for race scales? Your employer hasn't provided any for you to check the weight of your truck? Why didn't you scale it?
Ran out of time. And I was like, it's going to weigh the same thing regardless. Like I just won't deal with it. And if I weigh it again, I'm close enough that I want to just do it with the real wheels, and those are at my house and whatever else. Anyway, so yeah, I've done a lot of weight saving stuff. I have a bunch of new, I'm using a dump valve, which I'm trying a new dump valve, which I was trying to find one that worked the way I wanted. I couldn't. So I ended up just kind of buying one that was readily available and machining it myself to make it what I wanted. And then we did a bunch of new trans brake stuff. Trying to get
quick,
the trans
for
brake.
people who don't know what a dump valve is, just quick.
A dump valve relieves the pressure in the converter. So it kind of makes the converter, it helps the reliability. So it's not dragging as much. So you're not hurting it at the starting line, which is more of a thing at the high RPM when you're trying to stage at 3,000 and up RPM. But also it helps relieve the pressure, which causes the converter to cavitate a little bit. So it doesn't couple as good. So you can use it kind of like as a tuning strategy to help like get the converter to loosen up. And then after you launch, you can put the pressure back in it and have it couple up tighter.
Makes it a little bit easier to spool.
Yep.
At the line.
Yep. And I was using it I'm actually holding it open for about 0.5 seconds just to help get the RPM up, because I don't have nitrous. So I'm all fuel only, which means that I'm really relying on how fast I can get that thing to spool at the line, because I can hit the chassis plenty hard, but generally you don't have enough fuel only to keep the chassis set. So I'm trying to soften up the initial hit so I can leave it at high RPM, but get the spool up to happen as fast as possible to get the power and keep the chassis set. So I was like just doing different things like that. I made, we did the dump valve. I was trying that out. That seems to be working great now. I did a trans brake. I've had a trans brake before. Actually, no, this is the first time I've raced with a trans brake, but you've had a trans brake. It's not anything new for us, yeah, but I've been doing a bunch of trans like mods in there, trying to get it to come off as fast as possible. And like watching some of the footage and the data logs and stuff, it's operating fast. Like even talking to other people at the race, I'm like, I think it's coming off faster than anyone else I talk to.
Yeah, I mean, we're not tooting our own horn, but there's several other trans builders that make a trans brake valve body, and theirs aren't as fast as, at least their data's not showing. So
yeah, I mean, it is what it is, but
which is cool.
Yeah. It's cool to see it working, like have it work and see it working. So that was really awesome watching the trans brake work.
I mean, that makes a good point though. A lot of guys, like they're heavy into their tow truck and they tune out when you start talking about race stuff, and they don't understand that where the technology comes from is from racing. Why are we better at the valve body? Because you're figuring out how to make the valve body come off faster. That might also make you figure out making the low reverse band come off faster, so that guy that's plowing snow doesn't drag the low reverse band and wear out his valve body, wear out his band fat. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff that comes from racing. So if you're not a racer, this is where the R&D comes from, is why
we find solutions for things that we realize this is also a solution for that.
Yeah,
for sure. You learn that back and forth.
Like you take a small problem can exist and be okay in every day. Well, then you take that and you 10 times your horsepower, 10 times what you're trying to do, push it that much harder. That small problem just became a big problem. And now it's way more visible and sometimes way more evident on how you're supposed to solve it.
Yeah.
And so you can go back and like, yeah, those changes go right back into, and some things don't, like we're not doing trans brakes on your 400 horse truck, but some of the principles from that valve body do trickle back and be like, oh yeah, like there's no side effect for having the low reverse band come off faster. Like, yeah, let's do that. Let's fix that. So yeah, that's pretty cool. What else? I had the data logger in there. I also, like I said, I did the lightweight brakes, and I'm trying to think what else I was playing with, but and then I'm terrible at shifting the truck. So I wanted it to shift itself. And so I ended up just modifying my shifter to work with an air shifter, just like kind of rolling my own setup there. And I have the I have my Hall Tech controlling that. Game changer. If you're running anywhere, like if you're running 6 seconds, okay, whatever. I don't know. I would still probably do it. But like you're running 5 seconds, freaking air shift your trans. Like it's awesome. Like just not having to deal with it is great.
I've been telling you this, guys, for years.
I know. I just thought you were a prima donna.
We're like, you're a prima donna.
I'm like, no, you're going to you need this. You don't understand how much you need this. And I was like, okay, that's way better. I'm like, I told you.
It's awesome because I can look at the data logs and be like, okay, I want that. Like I changed my 2.3 to come in 100 RPM sooner.
Yeah, you can do that now.
Thrilled if I could personally shift it within 100 RPM of what I wanted. But now I'm like, yeah, no, that was a little too late. Let me bring it in 100 RPM sooner. It's just awesome. You'll see the data and have it work. It's that part was great. But yeah, that's my truck.
Now, a lot of guys, when they do an air shifter, they either put a CO2 bottle to power the air shifter or they put nitrous and feed it with their nitrous pressure.
Which I don't have. I don't have nitrous. I don't have to rely on nitrous. And CO2, like I know it's reliable. I'm sure there's kits out there and they work and they're great. And like I was talking to people and they say, yeah, you just put a CO2 bottle in the beginning of the season. It lasts all season. I'm sure that's true. However, I don't like things I know I'm going to have to upkeep because it gives me the possibility of screwing that up and forgetting maybe there's a leak or something. I leave the truck outside.
So how are you powering your air shifter,
And
Meyer?
so what I ended up doing is I grabbed a bottle. It's actually a CO2 bottle, ironically enough. But I have, so CO2, all the CO2 guys, they regulate their CO2 down to about 70 to 90 PSI from what I was seeing to then operate the air shifter because you don't want 3,000 or whatever PSI going into your air shifter. And I was like, well, dude, 70 to 90 PSI, that's my boost. So I have just a check valve with a boost line, like topping off my bottle between every pass. And so I got to the track. I saw it was at 60.
So you have a bottle that's holding boost from whatever last run that feeds your air shifter, and then it's got a check valve. Yeah. So if you happen to not make boost or blow up, it'll still shift.
Which it'll do it'll do about, let's call it 7 sets of shifts on a charge. So even if something failed and it never recharged, it should get through a day of racing. But if it works, it just keeps it topped off. Like I filled it up just to do some test stuff here. And then when I got to the race, it was still at 60 pounds. I was like, that's enough for at least one shift, one set of shifts, I went down the track, came back, I looked at it, it was at 80. I'm like, perfect. We're good.
Air shifter tank refilled itself during the pass.
It's pretty great.
You cost yourself horsepower. You wasted
I wasted
air.
that precious oxygen. I was thinking about using dry pressure, but I don't know. It's more, we capture energy. But that just sounds a little dirty. Like you're gonna hurt cylinders and solenoids eventually. But yeah, that's my truck. It's kind of a hodgepodge of just a bunch of kind of redneck engineering, but also cool parts and data acquisition. But it's fun.
And what was so fun is your first pass in a year in the 590 class. His first pass was a 596.
Which, as much as I'd love to toot my own horn, I really was shooting for like a 6.1. I was like, if I just put this in it, it should work.
But you lost a bunch of weight, and who knows how much that's going to make a difference.
I knew I was going to have to lower the leave arc. I have a tighter converter than I've ever, this is the first time I ever raced on this converter, so I didn't know what that was. So I was like, okay, I'll just have it launch at 2,600 RPM. I was like, that should be low enough. It won't like blow the tires off, because if I blow the tires off, that's bad data. I was like, if I don't blow the tires off and it's just too soft, you kind of know, okay, this is how much harder I can leave. And so I just did that, 2,600 RPM. I was like, I threw a bass tune at it. I was like, I don't know. I was like, should be about 6.1. Did a 596. I was like, you know what? I think that's the tune that's going to stay in it. Like that seems to be working pretty good.
Yeah.
So yeah, it worked. It worked good. So that, first pass off the trailer was 596. And then I was like nerding out looking at my data logs and stuff. And so I, missed the second round of qualifying. I was like helping other people, whatever, but mostly I was just looking at my data logs and I was nerding out and forgot and just lost track of time and was like, oh, they're like calling me up. I was like, well, I can't flash a change in by now. So whatever, it's fine. So the next round, do you want to talk about that or do you want to go to you?
I'll go to me. So that's your first round. So
what, your truck's a 94.
I think it's a 94 2500 single cab long bed. If you guys don't know, it's called the Cummins Cart. It was originally built by Phil, the Thrill Taylor, down there in Georgia.
At Diesel Performance Converters.
Yeah. And he built that years ago, and it's been sitting in, and he's been bugging us for years to come to buy it. And we finally did. And it sat here for a year or two before we finally built it. And it's been really, really fun. So it's a very simple drag chassis. Most people make fun of it. Like John Schroeder, our good friend, saw, he's like, dude, some dirt track racer in Georgia built this thing. He's like, it's all heavy material. It's ladder bars. It's not. He's like, we need a wishbone 4-link. This is stupid.
It has this dinky little anti-roll bar in the back.
Yeah.
It's like not even very, like my truck has a heavier anti-roll bar than yours.
It's just and the fab work, like you look at like how the steering is done and stuff. Like I'm sure it was a pinnacle about 15 years ago.
Yeah.
But like you look at it now, you're like, yeah, I don't know, welding to the knuckle was really the right play there.
Yeah. But it is.
It works.
It does work. And so, but he's like, I'm telling you boys, I've been in this truck, and when people couldn't hook up, this thing would hook up and go. Yeah, all the time. Whatever it is, it works. Like, all right. And sure enough, it has done that. It has gone. It goes.
It
A
feels
to B.
like don't change it. Yeah. Run it first. I promise you, you're not gonna want to change it.
Yeah,
I think the first time you had like an actual pass on it was Montana last year.
It was Texas 2 years ago.
So sorry, Texas. You're right.
Real power. Yes.
But that was super low power. It just didn't work.
Yeah.
It was the first time you actually like took it out for a good round of racing was Montana last year.
Yeah.
And it was just.
And it was printing 840s.
540s.
Or 540, sorry.
Yeah, right off the trailer. And we're like, and it's just easy. I mean, coming from The Godfather, which is like, fear for your life every pass, a lot of fun. I mean, that fear comes, there's a level of excitement that comes with that level of fear, which is fun, but it was never going to be fast. I mean, it just never would be. And this thing was just easy. It goes straight, it goes fast, and you're never scared. You're just enjoying the ride. And yeah, it's fast. So my first, in the pits, they came up to us, as Ryan Milliken came up and said, hey, we're doing this no prep kind of thing, even though it was on a prep track. I know it was a no time.
No time,
not
pickup
no prep.
truck class. Yeah.
No time. And so he convinced me to run in it. And Will, I'm like, man, this is kind of dumb because like literally I just put this thing together. I've done 0 passes, but sure, why not?
And I'm like, it was a $200 buy-in. I was like, you have a chance to win, but I'm like, to me, you're basically getting an extra round of qualifying for $200 on an untested truck. That's not terrible.
Yeah. So I said, okay, sure. And so we line up and we were trying a new lockup strategy in that pass. And I was racing the guy you raced a 590 truck, and it's beautiful second gen, which I love second gens. It's a beautiful truck. And that's Bore diesel.
Bore.
Like BOR, you like bore in a hole.
Bore diesel. So beautiful truck. And we raced, and as I was staging, I was ready to go, and my bump box didn't work. I'm sitting there like spooled up. He's spooled up. He has 2 bulbs lit. I have 1 bulb lit, and I need to get that second bulb so we can actually race. I'm like, oh, and it's not. I'm like hitting the stupid thing. It's not going. So something's wrong with that. So I kind of had to let off the trans brake to actually move, and that sets up problems because then when I left the trans brake, that sets my timer for the shifter. So that's a problem. So anyway, long story short is they green lighted really almost immediately because we'd been there for a minute. So we went. The shifting wasn't perfect, but I definitely had a bad reaction time because I was kind of like, it was messed up. I just messed up. It needed to be really good. And he got on a lead on me. And towards the end of the track, I felt like I was kind of reeling him in a little bit. I think
I was down track watching. Yeah.
I felt like I was running him down, but I didn't have enough track.
At least, I mean, I saw from the side, I was back, but because I had ran before you, I would say you had at least 15 mile per hour on him, maybe even 20.
I think if that was call it a 900-foot track, you would have had him, no question.
And so he got out of me, and I didn't run him down, and he won the race, and it was a good race for him. And so that was it. As I got back, I was thinking about it. I was like, man, one of the things we're trying is this new lockup strategy, and I was fairly certain it did not lock up. We're trying to keep second gear band alive with this new lockup strategy, and I was almost certain it didn't lock up. I had that feel. I said, it felt fine, but not like I remember. So I'm like, maybe we're not making the power I was before, because like I said, I'm on nitrous now, a new motor build, and things a little bit different. And I'm like, I don't know. So so my truck, just to kind of go over what it is, I've done a video, but this is the 94 2500, and I've got a P-pumped 24-valve common rail head. It's actually common rail head, but 24-valve 6.4-liter Cummins. It's a common rail 6.7 block that is actually a Hamilton block.
So it's one of those competition wet blocks.
And those cylinder bores, when they come to you from him, are smaller than, I think it was smaller than 5.9 even.
You could bore it out to a 5.9.
You could bore it out and have a 5.9 bore. So we bored out to 6.4. So I got pretty thick cylinder walls, and it's got a really thick top deck there and thick base. So it's pretty strong, and I hope it serves me well for a long time. Other than that, it's pretty the same it was before. I got like the rods, the diamond pistons.
It's got one of our stage 2, ported heads.
Literally you can buy this
off the website.
Yep, it is. It's our
Another
stage 2
special.
It
does have better valve springs that we're playing with, but you can, those are available.
Those available. Colt cams.
Just those.
We got the Colt stage 5.5. It's a little bit custom, that one, but not much.
You are running a nice injection pump. You got a 14 millimeter on there,
which is not unobtainable. If you want one, I can make you one. We have parts. We can make parts, and I had that thing turned way down because I'm trying to run the lean side of the curve, like we talked about. So I'm running nitrous and lean.
I think we said you're running on 600 cc's with that current.
So you're running less fuel than I am.
I think so.
Yeah. Rookie.
Yeah.
he's like, and whose engine still works, bud?
Just saying. But so that's the build. It's one I've been using for a while. I'm using nitrous now. Compound turbos of Aggressor 80 millimeter, 480 turbo with a new G57 custom unit from Midwest Turbos. It's 122 millimeters, really big. I blew one up in Arizona, and I sent it to him he already modifies these.
He blew up an actual Garrett.
Garrett. And we know this. We know Midwest. We kind of friends with them a little bit, and said, "Hey, make one of your big bad units you make." And so he put his biggest 122 millimeter compressor wheel on that. And I was a little nervous to be kind of slow to spool or a little laggy, but it worked pretty good.
Yeah, I mean with nitrous, I'm sure
nitrous helps.
It works great.
Yeah. So one thing I had to change because of nitrous is I had to put on twin waste gates. Before I was just running that whole system without gates, just into the 480, into the G57, and let it go. Now I'm running a bunch of waste gate, and so that's pretty fun and new. And other than that, it's a simple build.
Guys are wondering, why do you have to run wastegate?
Well, with the nitrous, you're adding in nitrous outside of what the compressor wheel is bringing in. You have the compressor wheel, like turbos are kind of balanced in general. Your compressor and your turbine are ideally somewhat balanced where your turbine is going to push your compressor and it can just work. Air in, exhaust out, let it go. When you're adding additional oxygen via nitrous, you're now way, way more exhaust. And so your drive pressure goes high, it'll overspeed your turbo because it's way more turbine flow because of that nitrous injection. Your drive just goes crazy. So you need to bleed that off so you don't blow up turbos.
Basically, the nitrous is upsetting the balance of the compressor and the turbine. It's giving you way more turbine energy, and you will overspeed the turbo and blow them up.
Yeah, because you're not using the compressor to compress it, so you're not losing it in the compressor. It's just pure energy on the turbine. So that's people blow up turbos all the time with nitrous, and and so if you run nitrous, a lot of nitrous, big gates, lots of gates, open wide. I mean, I'll talk about it more, but like I'm still making my fastest pass made 140 pounds of boost with 2 gates just open, dumping all kinds of drive. So
a question that I was talking to my dad on my way home, and he's like, hey, like those gates are moving a lot of air. Wouldn't you have a lot better, like wouldn't you be able to make more power if you repurpose that energy and put it into the hot pipe? So why are you going to the atmosphere versus putting those gates into the hot pipe?
Well, he's not wrong or right. You need to design a turbo for that. That would be an interesting thought. Like, how would you do that? Like, it's so much energy. I mean, can you imagine how much energy is going to, because I still have enough energy to go 150 pounds of boost.
Yeah.
I'm not lacking energy.
Yeah, exactly.
But you could test putting one into the hot pipe and see if the big turbo will take it, because that might introduce more oxygen into the engine, which would make more power.
I would need a bigger turbo. I would need a bigger turbo, period. To
need like an HX82
because I think I'm already like, I kind of mapped out this turbo to like 140, 150 pounds of boost. It's kind of where I think it's like going to be pretty happy in this compound arrangement. And if I had triples, okay, maybe that makes a little more sense. But I feel like I would just run into drive pressure issues with the current turbo. I'm not monitoring drive right now because I'm just trying to kind of set up boost. I imagine it's pretty good at the boost level I'm at. But if I put that into the hot pipe, I think my drive pressure ratios would go out of whack, and I would risk overspeeding the turbo 1 and 2. I don't know how much power increase I'd get because of the pumping losses of all the extra pressure on the exhaust side versus the intake side. Yeah, no, I agree. And then that was actually something. So then his follow up, I kind of told him a very similar thing. He's like, well, why are you worried about overspeeding it? The small turbo is what you'd have to worry about overspeeding. No. The big turbo is so massive that there's no way you'd overspeed that. It's a very common misconception. And so when the way a turbocharger works, I'm sure you've heard me say this before, but the turbine creates horsepower by a difference of pressure in, pressure out. How much pressure comes in the turbine versus how much is out. The bigger that delta is, the more power it can create. And so when you have compound turbos, you have a turbo behind your manifold charger. So everybody's worried about overspeeding their manifold charger. In general, that's the one that doesn't overspeed because it has so much pressure behind it. Especially if you dump pressure into the hot pipe, you're adding even more pressure behind it. It'll slow it down even more. And so really the one that I've not blown up any turbos from turbo speed and compound turbos because they do work together. But mathematically, you run way higher pressure ratios from your atmosphere charger than you do your manifold charger because it just the difference in pressure just isn't there across the manifold, especially as your big one comes on harder and harder and more comes in there. It just backs up that manifold charger. So even though it's smaller, if you run the calculations, you'll find that usually the manifold charger,
there's another way that slows that high pressure charger is it is compressing dense air.
Very dense.
And so it takes more, you could say, shaft or turbine power to do that compressor work. So that is going to slow down the high pressure turbo because it has to compress denser air.
I guess the way to think about it is like a straw. Try to suck water up a straw and suck a milkshake up a straw.
Or imagine
milkshake's more dense. It's way harder to do. It's going to slow you down.
Or imagine you have a blender, turn your blender on with air and turn your blender on with water or syrup or something. The blender, it's a lot harder to chew through that thicker medium. And so and
it's still air, but it's denser. There's more molecules or mass packed in that area. So
an example I have for that is I was looking at, this is a while ago. I was curious about this. A bone stock truck with a bone stock factory tune, bone stock factory, everything. They have a turbo shaft speed on them. And so I was looking at it and they hit about, I want to say the number was like 129,000 RPM. Your factory turbo, factory bone stock truck, 129,000 RPM. My same exact turbo in my compound arrangement, making about 1,000 horsepower, that turbo manifold charger is spinning at 120,000 RPM. it is spinning slower than stock, making 3 times as much power.
Yeah.
Manifold chargers just don't overspin. They do fail, like from thrust bearing issues. Yeah. Like if you don't have enough thrust bearing, or you have a huge pressure ratio across it or something, to where it's like a lot of drive pressure is thrusting that compressor or turbine into the thrust bearing. It's possible. It's not like they don't fail, but overspeeding is not your concern.
And in your arrangement, you're putting everything through that turbine wheel. It's not going around it via wastegate. 100% of exhaust energy is going through that turbine wheel.
You're talking on your tow truck, right?
1,000 horsepower worth of energy is going through that wheel, and it's slower than stock.
Yep.
Because of pressure in, pressure out.
Yep.
Exactly. That's really true. So I mean, it's a real thing. Like I said, I've never oversped a high pressure turbo.
And real, like you're saying, like, you're not running gates to try to tune the efficiency island or anything. Those gates are purely to keep it alive. And the best way to keep it alive is to get rid of the crap.
Yes. And it puts on a good flame show at night.
It does do that.
And it sounds cool to the audience in the stands. When those pipes are open, it's so loud.
I bet.
Oh, yeah. It sounds awesome.
I know. I got to watch a few passes this weekend.
Nice.
So yeah, so that's my build. I guess I'll go over my first actual qualifying pass. So after that lockup thing happened, I was back in the pits, and the bump thing happened. You and I were kind of like trying to play the bump box.
There's no time. You didn't get a time slip because that was a no time.
So I'm like, it didn't feel particularly amazing, but who knows? So we're back there trying to figure out this bump box thing, and we can see the LEDs working. Like it seems like it's working. So I go back up for a qualifying run, and when we're playing with this, we unplugged the shift noid. Because every time the trans brake is what does you have to have that on to do the bump box.
When you let off the trans brake, it starts a timer
it shifts.
Everything's going off of.
Yeah, so I'm like, just unplug it so it doesn't shift boom, boom every time. So we unplug it. So anyway, we're doing this, and now it's time to go back up. I go back up to the staging lanes, and I'm just having a great time, not paying much attention. It's my turn. Sure, let's go up there. I at this point in time, we hadn't really figured out the bump box, and I'm like, I got to get a time. Like, I can't be screwing up here with my bumping procedure. I need a qualifying time. So I just went into double bulbs, trans braked it, spooled up. So I still haven't fixed my bump box per se, but I'm on the trans brake. And at this moment in time, I realized I don't have an automatic shifter. I'm spooled up at the line, 2 bulbs. It's a green light waiting for me to go, because on a qualifying pass, reaction time doesn't matter. So I'm like, well, crap. I'm gonna have to shift this. You know,
you're like hyping yourself up as you're like spooled.
I'm like, can I reach over? Nope, I can't. Nope. I'm shifting it. So at this point, I'm like, I'm just gonna go back to old school thing here. I'm gonna lock up my trans manually. Means when it hits second gear, it's gonna lock. I don't want to screw that up. So just old school technology stuff we've been doing. And so away we go. Left the button. I shift second. It locks. I shift third. And I can tell already, we got way more power. Lockup was not working that first pass against that no time truck. And so then I hit 4th gear, and right away, my qualifying pass is a 545 at, I don't remember the speed, 132, 133, somewhere in there.
Somewhere in the 130s. I can't remember exact, but
and I'm
low
like,
130s. That
felt way better. I went back to and since it's 8th mile, you can see your time on the scoreboard before, because it's a quarter-mile track. So I could see that. I'm like, oh, cool, 545. Heck yeah, that felt better. That's more like what I was used to. And so I'm like, that's going great. So I get back to the pits, and things are good, and I have my time slip, and we got one more pass that day.
One round of qualifying, yeah.
And so you are now, we've all done our first pass. You've gone the fastest you've ever gone.
575.
I ran well with what the truck was running before. Like right back to where it was. So I'm very happy. And you just killed it. And so then, now you're buried in data logs.
Yeah, my first pass I did the 596, and I was like buried in data logs and totally missed my second one.
So you had that issue of
the trans line rubbed on the drive shaft,
and also you blew out a gasket.
So
we were able to repair the trans line, and so that got fixed. And you actually had one of a guy from a fan or a spectator.
Darcy helped me. Colstang came up, and
he's cool. I don't know. That's who. I wish I would have known. That's the hard thing about names. Like, I know Colstang. I don't know Darcy. I wish he would have said, "Hey, I'm Colstang." Oh, hey, Colstang. I didn't know that was Colstang. I would have been like,
he had a son dealing with him too, and
he's super cool. I was talking with him, but I didn't know that's who it actually was.
I didn't even know he was coming. He drove down from Canada. Several hour drive to come to the event.
Yeah, we like him a lot. We've known him for a long time, but we knew his online name, Colstang. I didn't know.
He's like, is there anything I can do? And I was like, you can fix that valve cover gasket, as I'm under there snipping zip ties trying to get some slack on the trans line to
so
fix
just so people know, Colstang has a 12-valve powered Mustang, right? That's why it's called Colstang.
And it weighs like 2,900 pounds or something.
Yeah, he stripped a bunch of weight out of it, and it weighs, and he's running like mid 6s, might be low 6s. in the 8th
with the HX40.
With the HX40 with
no
nitrous,
intercooler.
no intercooler.
It's awesome. Like it's such a testament of what you can do on a budget with like.
Oh, he's the king of like, how affordably can we make this? Like you could replicate his build. I don't care if you were working minimum wage at McDonald's. You could replicate his build. Yeah. Like you'd be eating ramen noodles. You'd be like scrimping.
And you need
even a minimum wage job.
You need a lot of time.
And a lot of time.
Yes,
but you could replicate what he's done.
Yeah, this is pretty amazing.
Which is awesome.
Yeah. So he fixed your valve cover gasket. You got the thing.
And I got the transline, and I had no time to pull a data log. I don't know what it hit or anything. So I go right back to the staging lanes.
And I kind of follow you because I'm the class after you.
And I'm like, and there was only 3 people in my class. And I didn't, and Meyer wasn't up there. And so I'm just up there getting ready to go. And so I just had a couple seconds. So I have a wastegate controller and I have one wastegate to atmosphere. And I'm like, I'm going to turn the power down because the crankcase pressure is high and I ran too fast. And so instead of turning the fuel down, which would have been smart as well, I just turned the wastegate and I turned the boost down about, a couple turns. So maybe 15 pounds of boost. And I thought, that'll cap the top end power a little bit. And then really quick, I had just a second on my fuel tech. I went in there and turned on my progressive nitrous. It took about 20% off of my whole nitrous map. So I was like, I don't need as much nitrous and because I'm trying to slow it down. And I went up and I staged and truck left really good again, cut a 138 60 foot
very nice.
With less nitrous, which you'd expect to be a little slower. That's what I was trying to do. And it went down and it felt good. And I was just about to grab overdrive and it started laying over in third. I was kind of, because I was like, do I even want to grab? I was thinking of maybe not grabbing overdrive because I was like, that'll slow me down if I just don't run hard out the back. And I got up around 5,000 RPM and it just started laying over. And I was like, oh, I must have hit it must be governing the fuel back on the pump. And so I just rolled out of the throttle. And then all of a sudden I'm like, I don't hear the engine running. And I hit the brakes and I don't have power brakes and the steering's really heavy. And I'm going, and Allison's smoke is billowing tons out of the hood. I'm like, dude, I'm on fire. Like it's billowing. And so then I'm like, I got to pull over. I don't want to go down the track. I hit the brakes hard and it pulls really hard towards the wall. When I don't have power brakes, I also don't have power steering because the engine's not running. And for whatever reason, my left rotor and maybe my left drum grab harder. And my truck, when I hit the brakes, pulls really, so I can't hardly hit the brakes or because I'm not strong enough with the little racing steering wheel to fight the torque steer. And so I go the whole track down. Oh, yeah. I get down to the sand trap at the end and I'm still hitting brakes. And I'm like, I don't think I can stop. I thought I was going to have to go to the sand. And I got right at the end and the wall goes away and I hit the brakes as hard, but it helped me turn because it's also hard to turn. Well, it torque steered me around so that I just kind of like skidded and just missed the sand trap and went around. And then I ripped my belts off because it was just billowing. The wind was blowing. I was like, man, I'm going to start a forest fire because the way the wind's blowing. And I get under there and it was just the valve cover gasket had blown out again, but much worse. And I hit the starter and the truck goes, and I'm like, oh, no compression on several cylinders. It is pert. And that was the end. They come down there and they're like, why did you pull over? You all down the track. And I was like, would you rather hit the wall? And he's like, no. And I was like, well, it was crash into the wall or be gentle on the brakes because anyway. And long story short, went back, pulled data log, crankcase pressure. I was telling Meyer, I was like, oh, it wasn't that bad. It maxed out at 16 pounds. And then I got looking and it's like a plateau on the graph. I'm like, oh, the sensor stops at 16 pounds.
Yeah, I wonder how it actually went.
So it actually got up to 14 and then dropped back down to 5. And so I assume that's when it blew out the gasket.
Yeah.
And then at the end, in the last like half second, it skyrocketed up. But it was cooler EGT. It was 1600 EGT, like mid 1600s. So it was 200 degrees cooler than the run before that. Power was down. Boost was down about 12 pounds of boost. Nitrous was way down. And something in there said no more. And that was the end of my racing. I hurt my engine.
How do you say no in Spanish?
Just no.
It's no. Inferno, no.
Inferno, no, hermano.
Yeah, it's not that creative.
Yeah, sorry. That was cool.
I've thought about that too. I was like, man, that's just not as satisfying.
Yeah, it's not. Inferno seems way better.
Inferno, no.
Yeah. So it's done. Yeah. So Yeah, so I'm sitting there in the staging lanes, and all of a sudden they like close it down. I'm like, oh man, what happened? It's like, and so they actually, to finish the day of qualifying, they just closed down that lane and let everybody go on the right hand lane. So,
which is smart. I don't know why tracks don't do that on a little spill. It's not. Yeah. I mean, my truck blew up, but it was small oil fragment because I have a diaper and everything. Yeah, they came up. He was checking to see if I had a diaper. I was like, dude, I got. Yeah, and he's like, oh, it looks like you're leaking coolant. Do you have coolant? And I was like, no, it's rusty water. And he's like, oh, okay. I was like, coolant's not orange, it's green. But anyway,
yeah. So before I went to the staging lanes, when you were doing that stuff, I got back to that 545 pass and I decided to switch bottles because I knew those bottles were kind of like 2/3 full to begin with. So I pulled them out and they were mostly empty. Now I've played with nitrous a lot in the past, and I know that a full bottle is a whole different story from a 2/3 full bottle or a half full bottle. So I had good pressure to start that run, but by the time the run was over, they were probably, I was down to 600 PSI at the end of the run. So, they're just mostly done. So I'm like, well, this will be kind of fun because I'm going to do this, these full bottles here, 2 brand new bottles. And I'll hook up my shifter so it can actually shift for me. Mm-hmm. So, but I'm going to run the same strategy. I know the lockup thing we tried didn't work. So I'm going to go back to lock it up. And when it hits second gear, it locks up and away we go. And, I don't know if anybody went after you before I did or not. I can't remember that.
We also made, because I was like at the starting line with your pass and you left the hole like pretty soft.
Oh yeah.
And then like 5 feet out, like almost looked like the power just came in and it smacked the chassis. Like, I don't know if that's when it spooled or whatever, but like it just smacked it and then it hooked and it looked good. And so we're like, you need to leave harder off the line. And so we went in and we also bumped your leave RPM or up a little bit. We picked it up like, I think it was like 2.5 pounds of boost is what we decided.
Yeah.
And so we left that 2.5 pounds higher. And then, your nitrous full bottles. And then you hooked up the shifter.
Yep. And I did program the nitrous different. I made it more aggressive from the hit. Like it came in earlier, came in more. So I had full bottles, a little bit more aggressive nitrous because I took that really easy. And so then that was it.
What was your 60 foot on the first pass?
130 something. I don't remember. 138 maybe.
It might have been slower than my truck.
May have been.
And you decided to pick it up. You're like, if
this guy can do it.
Cracker over there.
It looked like, I have the video. Yeah, it looked like his looked soft, and then like 5 feet out, whatever, it just got violent and went. And I'm like, we need to bring that back a little bit.
Yeah. Need the violence earlier. More violence, please.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. So yeah, fresh bottles, nitrous program, and a little bit more aggressive on the hit. And the way I'm running this nitrous, I don't have to run as much timing as I do have in the past. And so spool up is like, it's so nice. The thing starts ridiculously easy. Like this truck just starts right up. Mm-hmm. And I get there to spool and it spools up fast because I'm not running crazy timing for big power because I'm making it with nitrous. So super fun there. So I spooled up and I let off the button and man, it was going fast right away. And the nitrous I could feel this is substantially faster than the 545 I just ran. This is like a whole nother level. This is really, really cool. And I really felt it on the 2-3 shift because now I'm on a timer. My shift strategy is on a timer. Like it shifts to second in 0.6 seconds and to third in 2.3 seconds after I let off the button. And that 2-3 shift was so delayed. I'm just waiting for it. Like I want to reach over and hit it, but I can't because if I do, it's still going to shift it into neutral. So I can't hit. I got to let it just play out. I'm just waiting for this thing to shift. And the data logs out back, and that thing went to about 6,000 RPM in second gear before it hit third gear, which is higher than I want. I got a 480 on the manifold, not a GT55. Do you have governor
lockouts on the pump, so it still fuels up there? No. Oh, so it's defueling and everything then.
No, it's got lockouts. Sorry,
it does have lockouts.
It was just past efficiency. It felt like I had laid over. Like it was like we want another gear, and I have a 480 on the manifold. It's not really designed for that kind of RPM at peak power. We know it makes peak power in the mid 4s, so I'm way past peak power. And but then it shifted and away we went again. Like, oh, here we go, it's back. And then hit overdrive and again, since this is an 8th mile track, when you cross the finish line, your time pops up and you can see it. You don't have to wait for the trailer or the little booth that has your time slip booth. And I saw it, and it was a 5.17. I was like, oh my gosh, that felt good. I know it was that good, but that was really good. So 5.17, 139 miles an hour. So that's dang near 0.3 faster than I've ever been. Maybe not quite, but close.
I think you did a 4.0. So yeah,
540 somewhere. 23,000. So I mean, you don't think all 23,000s or 0.2 of a second, but it's like a whole different experience. It's an entirely different experience to pick up that much time in 600 feet. And so it felt amazing. I'm like, man, if I could fix that 2-3 shift, it'll be good. And so anyway, we got back to the pits and Meyer comes over and he's like, dude, I'm like, I'm serious. And Will hadn't seen it. Will was working on something. He'd just been working. He'd been getting back to the pits.
Yeah, they were towing me back
dragging
to the
you back.
pits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you didn't get to see or nothing. And so he's like, how'd that run? Pretty good. And I handed him the slip and he's looking at it and he's like, holy.
I'm like, dude, that thing is a booking.
Yeah.
Like that is.
I almost had to like double take. I was like, does that really say 5.1 something? Yeah. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
And then I saw the mile per hour is up there almost 140. I was like, yeah, that is it. 60 foot, 1299.
129.
I was like, that's, if it had like a 0.0, if it had a 0.9 60 foot, something unrealistic, I'm like, oh, it smoked the lights or something, but it has a real 60 foot and everything. It's a legit time slip. That's awesome.
And when we're watching the video, it's the smoothest a truck has ever left. Usually the truck has a hard hook, a bounce, and a rehook and go. That's kind of been everything I've ever done with this truck. It's been a hook, a bounce, and a hook and go. And this time it never bounced. It just hooked and went. And we didn't change the suspension. We just think it's because I brought the nitrous in so much earlier. It never unloaded the chassis.
It kept chassis loaded.
It kept adding power, adding load. So the chassis never unloaded, just away it went. I was like, man, that was really, really, it was really, really fun. And I was super excited because I was like, well, that was a legit qualifying pass for the race the next day. So I'm like, I haven't seen anything go that fast. So I think I'm going to be the #1 qualifier. I've seen some mid 5-second passes in the Pro Street class. And there's some really fast trucks there for sure. But I do believe at this point in time, I'll be the #1 qualifier. So I'm pretty stoked. And I also noticed that my converter was dragging when I got back. So I did have some issues with on the way back from that pass. When you stop, if the converter wanted to drag the engine down, like almost like it was stuck in lockup, and that's a pretty telltale sign of like there's something wrong with your converter. It's not releasing the clutches, it's dragging your engine down. I'm like, oh man, I heard the converter. And so we brought parts to rebuild the converter. It's a bolt together converter, so we can take it apart and rebuild it. But that means you have to pull the transmission. It's already late. It's not a great thrilling idea. Let's say that. We're not really excited about it.
Yeah, and that was converter. That's a rebuildable one. So we had just gone through it. We knew it was pretty healthy. And there's a good amount of material in the pan. We're like, there's 2 ways we can go about this. We can pull it all the way back apart and just know for sure that it's gonna be good. Rebuild it again. Or the problem is probably simply from the fluid, the dirty fluid clogging the filter, starving the converter. Yeah. And if that's the case, just putting new fluid in it will get us another 2 rounds. That's all you needed.
Yeah, because if I'm #1 qualifier, I think I got 2 rounds tomorrow to race. So I get through 1 round, then we'll be in the finals. Mm-hmm. And that would have been the case. And so I'm like, I needed to last 2 rounds. I think as long as if we can just make it through that, once it goes, it's fine. It's just the hard part's gonna be spooling it up. But if we get enough fluid in there and I think it'll be okay. So we just said that's gonna be good. And by this time it's late and we're tired and we want to go eat and go to bed. So we changed the fluid, changed filters, got to put it back together. And when we went back to the hotel. Mm-hmm. So at this point of the event, Will's out. His engine gets back in the pits. When you pop your hood, what'd you see? So you got back to the pits. I show you my run, and now we're looking at your engine. What's going on with you?
Well, as they were pulling me back, I noticed oil coming out of the firewall on my truck. And I'm like, man, that's really,
that's impressive.
There's some holes and it's been because this is Uncle Rico. It's been around the block. Well, there's holes in the firewall that are patched with leather and self-tappers. There's oil oozing out from the leather. I was like, how's there oil by my left foot? Where the parking brake should be. Why is there oil running down the firewall there? Anyway, and I get back, it was oil everywhere. I crank it and it sounds horrible. Unless people are like, well, are you out? Or I didn't get to see you run. And I was like, oh, it's out. And they're like, do you want to hear it? And they hear it and they're like, oh, sounds like no compression. And so I played around with some starting fluid and I barely got it to fire up. Burned the whole battery down, the whole starter, 2 cans of John Deere, the 80% ether good stuff. And even with all that, it's just hoofing out of it's definitely got a direct path from one of the combustion chambers into the crankcase. I can smell raw fuel. It's toast. It's done.
So you're out. So you're out. And so he's out. I've got a hurt thing and you're in great shape.
Yeah. No, it was
no issues with Myers.
to be fair, I want to point out on yours, we went into the evening with your converter dragging a little bit.
Yes.
Most 90% of the time, it starts to drag a little bit. You rev it up and it unlocks. So all you do is just give it a little RPM, and that will make it work like normal. It's hard. It's not gonna go forever, but it'll go a while.
Yeah.
Well, then you start up the next morning, and it's just stalling the moment you put it in gear.
Yeah.
And so we do a little bit of diag on that, and that's it.
Yeah, so the next morning we come back and I'm like, okay, this thing's ready. It starts up just great because it does now. It's really fun. I just go in there and I push the starter button. No starter fluid needed. Just push a button, it starts. It's a miracle. For you guys who haven't been around my trucks for a long time, this truly is a miracle. I was like, it's amazing. My truck starts. So it's pretty cool.
No starting fluid, no assistant seated. You by yourself can push a button.
I just walk in there and I push a button
and
it starts. It's like, this is impossible. And so it's really, really cool. And yeah, I put it in reverse and it dies. I'm like, what the? And so
and then we thought like maybe the lockup valve and the valve body is stuck. So we pulled the pan again just to double check that. And it was not stuck. So it kind of just really points towards a hurt converter, which at that point we did not have enough time to do anything. So we're like, you know what, whatever. Like it sucks. Like the right answer would have been to do it all last night, but I'm lazy, man.
Well, if it was in the condition last night that it was in the morning, we would have done it.
Yeah.
Like if we knew if it was not passable at all, we figured, man, we got 2 runs. I mean, I've got 3 runs in the converter. 3. Like if we can get this converter, like it'll be okay. Yeah. So, but we think there's some other issues that we've already discovered that we're going to change. But anyway.
And I don't think going down the track unlocked was like that much power.
Yeah.
That's not good for it.
Yeah. Cause we did, like I said, Meyer calculated out that mile an hour with that weight is around 2,000 horsepower average across the whole track. So,
so just putting 2,000 horse through a converter the whole time.
I'm sure it got pretty warm fluid.
Yeah. Who knows? It could be an O-ring. I mean, who knows?
Yeah. I mean, we might not even have been able to fix it. We haven't taken it apart. I mean, we could have stayed up all night, pulled it out to find out that we didn't even have, I mean, we had a spare converter. We would have had to change flex plates and stuff, but we might not even be able to fix the bolt together converter.
Long story short, come back next morning, Will's out, I'm out, and I'm bummed because I was number 1 qualifier. But it's okay. Like the truck is fine. I mean, a hurt transmission, a hurt converter, that's not a big deal. Engine's fine. I checked turbos just to make sure because I'm like, man, I've run a lot of nitrous through this to make sure there's no turbos that are melted. Turbos are fine. Starts up good. There's no weird misses with the engine. It's oil free. There's not an oil drop anywhere.
But what's that feeling of going from you're excited when you go to bed and you wake up in the morning all jazzed to go race, number 1 qualifier.
That's pretty hard.
And then it stalls. I mean, is that just like stab you in the heart? I mean, how you feel about that?
It would have had I not had such a successful night the night before. I mean, to go that 517, have it work so well. And the reality is it's a culmination of weeks and weeks of work here, but I'm just glad I didn't break anything serious because I'm on a race again. Like this is not the only race in the world. And so we don't have to like kill ourselves. It's not like it's a...
And it does like mark a step in the right direction.
Yes.
Like every time you do something, you're just trying to push it forward. And we now know the next thing we're going to push forward to.
Yeah.
We got the power and the power management. I would say those are pretty down.
Yeah.
It's working like a mechanical P-pump truck. Power management is it's working pretty dang good.
Yep.
Is that the mechanical truck record right now?
I don't know that personally. John Sherrod, a friend of ours who follows us, he says that's probably the mechanical truck record.
Yeah, I don't know.
So
comment below, guys, if you know of a P-pumped truck, four-wheel drive truck that's ran faster than 517 in the 8th. I'd
be curious.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but it seems pretty dang fast.
Yeah, it's booking. And it's really exciting. I'm really excited because everything seems to be working really well. Engine just took it like a champ. And we just got to get the tranny figured out a little bit. And that's something we haven't really played a lot with. We got some good ideas. I'm excited about that. So I'm out. Will's out. It's Meyer's day.
Yeah. And so then we were eating Taco Bell at 2 a.m., like reminiscing the old days. But we were talking and we're like, I don't even know who's in the 590 class at that point. Will's like, dude, it might just be you and I. And he's like, well, if that's the case, he's like, I'm taking the shorty. Because that's the other thing too, is we did the Burnout competition. And so I brought my shorty up there to do the Burnout competition. And I do it just because I want to put on a show. You know, it's fun. Like the last event we didn't go to, apparently the turnout was pretty not great in the of trucks doing the burnouts. And I was like, you know what? I don't know what's going to be there, but at least I want to put on a show for just have one truck that does okay. So my shorty makes about 1,500. I just whipped it around a little bit. It's cool because it's like a regular cab, short bed, 4-wheel drive truck. And I was able to just whip it around, sit on the limiter a little bit. I think I put on a decent show.
Smoke, man. You blocked the whole crowd.
It's. I mean, at that power level,
tire smoke, not fuel smoke. The tire smoke.
At that power level, you're just. I mean, it's sitting at like $5,000 in overdrive, just like not sweating. Like it's pretty cool. Yeah. And then the limiter's at like 5,200, and so just like bop off of that. And then I didn't look into it too much because I don't want to be a sore loser, but I did get second, and I thought I was going to win that, but apparently someone did better. It's cool. Apparently it was a car. And I'm like, gosh, at least beat me with a diesel. Like what the hell? But anyway, I didn't, whatever. I think part of the rules are that you can't go in reverse. You get a point deduction for going in reverse. And after I was done, I wanted to try 4-wheel drive. I really wanted to do freaking cyclones with this truck. I wanted to do it forever. So I wanted to do it in there. So I put it in reverse to go in a corner so I could have a decent chance of being able to do a cyclone and, get going in the middle because that pit was super small. And I think that got me a points deduction that probably was why I got second, which I think the guy that won hit the wall, which I think that
is a points deduction.
That's also points deduction. So maybe he did just outclass me. I don't know. But anyway, like congrats to him. Obviously you gotta beat on yourself in order to try to do decent at those things. Cause your crap gets hot. I melted the paint off the intake horn with that. But so that was fun. But I mean, just doing burnouts and like whipping it around. Like it's not something like burnouts are fun. Like not say on the street, but in parking lots where you're just doing a straight line thing, but doing
closed courses on the street.
Yeah. But straight line, it doesn't do whipping around justice. Whipping around, like being able to feel the rear end just kind of floating around. It's like you get like a toolbox like with 4 casters on it. You're trying to wheel it through the shop and it's trying to like wheel it, go over this way and go over that way. That's what it feels like you're driving this truck. It's dope. It's a cool feeling. But yeah, we did that. And so then the next morning, we got up and we're like, wasn't sure what the plan was. Cause like, am I racing Will or not? And so then, I had one more round of qualifying and we found out that there was actually only one other competitor, Blaine with Board Diesel. He has a nice looking second gen, that same truck that you raced. And he was also in the 590 index. And so he qualified with like a 594 or something, like solid number. And then his next qualifying pass in the morning, he did a 589. And so I was like, okay, this is a solid competitor. He's right there, whatever. So then I went and I went to qualify with him in the morning and I swapped my brakes. And so because of that, my bump was more aggressive than I meant for it to be. So I was kind of struggling with that. And normally the line locks hold the pressure in it. Well, I let off the brakes and it bumped forward a little bit and it like threw me off. Like, why did that just happen? Well, it's because the brakes aren't holding like they should. And because I hold the brakes, that way it doesn't bump super aggressively. And so when that happened, it kind of threw me off. And I saw both the sets of bulbs turned on. So I was like sitting there waiting because I was like, I knew I needed to work on reaction time because that's huge. So I was just like staring at those yellow bulbs because you have your like little practice tree in your truck. And I played with that for like an hour one night after you left. And I was like, I learned like, yeah, if you're thinking about anything else, your reaction time's terrible. Like it's funny because you try to get it and I was cutting like on your little test thing, I was cutting 0.05, 0.04, something like that. And then I would think about like, oh, I need to make sure I'm flooring it. Or I need to make sure I'm holding the steering wheel tight enough, try to be a realistic application. And all of a sudden my reaction time would go to like 1.13 or 0.15 or something. I'm like, wow, just thinking about anything else, like having that thought in the back of your brain
doubles your reaction time on your
just ruins your reaction time. So I was like, okay, I need to lights. And so I was just like, lights. And I'm just sitting there like, what the hell? Like, why is this timer not going? And then I didn't make sense, but I was like sitting there and then finally I was like, dude, this is wrong. And so I let out. And right when I let out, it red lit me and Blaine took off and he ran his I think it was 589 or 588.9 or something like that. But anyway, I was like, what the crap just happened? And so I was kind of confused and I talked to you and you're like, yeah, you stupid dum-dum. You can't just light the bulb. You have to keep the second stage lit. And I was like, okay, that must be what I did. Like in my brain, I had done that, but I must have just done it wrong. So I was like, okay, now I don't have that qualifying time. The only pass I've done so far is a 596. And so I talked to John Strado because he's got a lot more drag racing experience than me. And I was like talking about like changing leave RPM or trying to like make it leave better. Cause I was like, it's bouncing, whatever. He's like, what are you trying to do? I was like, I mean, run 590. He's like, don't change anything. Like, why? Why are you being dumb? I was like, oh, I mean, that's a good point. I guess I hadn't even thought of that. Just don't change anything. And so then I was like, okay, well, I need to back up my number. And so I made some very small tweaks, just like I changed the second gear shift point a little bit, like just very, very basic stuff, like 0.1 second. And so then I went to, I call it my 4th round of qualifying, where I was supposed to race Will. And it's just basically
Uncle Rico no-showed.
Yeah, and Uncle Rico no-showed. And so then I was like, I'm just going to use this as another test. Like, I'm going to qualify second. Like, whatever. It doesn't matter if I qualify first or second. I'm still racing the same guy in the final, which is like the only race I actually have to race anyone with. But I was like, okay, well, I'll just like get some data from this, because I feel like I need to get some data. Otherwise, I don't know really what I'm doing. Like, who knows? That 596 might have been a fluke, whatever. And so I lined it up. I fixed the bumps. The bump worked way better. And I took off and I ran a 562 is what it said. And I was like, wow. I was like, dude, I don't know what I changed. I guess I made a wastegate change because I fixed the leak or something. I was like, dang, wastegates are, that's what's up. Wastegates are where it's at. And then I looked at the time slip when I got back, and I was like, oh, it says I had a 0.9 reaction time, which really means
0.960 foot.
0.960 foot. And so as much as I could be just like the hot dog racer, really, I probably just smoked out the lights is the more likely thing. And I should have listened to, so Darcy Colstang told me at the very first race I did, that sounds like there's like a wastegate or something opening, because it sounds like a shotgun effect on, like, from my truck. And so I did my due diligence. I looked for leaks. I was like, I don't see any. I had someone like pop the throttle a little bit, and I was like, I didn't see smoke coming from anywhere. I was like, it's fine. Like, I don't know, maybe the gate cracked a little bit or something, whatever. Well, then I was like, okay, I smoked out the lights. I looked at the video. Yeah, I've got smoke coming from the bottom of my truck. Like, there's an exhaust leak somewhere. And so I was like, I got to find this, because if I smoke out the lights in actual competition, that wouldn't be good, because that'll tell me, let's say I have a 1.5 or whatever reaction time, or whatever it pulls off your 60 foot is what it's adding to your reaction time. You can't win with that. And I was like, so I looked for that, and it turns out there was a bung that I had left open. It was when on the dyno, we were measuring interstage drive pressure to see what it was doing. Well, I took the hose out and left it on the dyno and never put a plug in its place. That was my problem. So I put a plug in there. I'm like, oh, well, hopefully that fixes it. I mean, it should, because it's a massive leak. And so I knew I needed a little bit more power, because like now I really only have one set of data going into this race, where I have to beat someone that's been running low 590s all day, every time he's gone. And he seems like a good racer and stuff. So I was like, I need a little bit more power, because I don't have the data. I have to just fender race this guy. And so I was like, I don't want too much, because like don't want to get too crazy. So I just moved my lockup up about 150 RPM, because I was like, oh, locking up a little faster will help a little bit. I did a couple other small changes to try to help. I tightened up the compression on the shocks a little bit, just because it was bouncing at the line. I was like, okay, well, like, let's just see what that does. I was like, and I'll just have to do a fender race at the end. So I end up getting called to the lanes. We ended up talking to Blaine, was the guy's name. Super cool dude. He was talking, he just on a Motec and stuff. So I was picking his brain on some of that stuff, some of the stuff he's doing. And it's super cool. And I asked him, I was like, do you want to collect your trophy now, or do you want me to like have to give it to you? Like, which one do you want to do? And anyway, so we got called up, wish him best of luck, lined up, and everything, like the bump, like I say, I fixed the bump. So the bump works great. It's a little violent from the outside, but from the inside, it felt great. Bumped my way in, lined up to him, and I was like, dude, I have to beat him at the light. Like, he is he's running such a consistent number. I have to beat him at the light. So I was just like, again, just looking at the freaking yellow bulbs. And I think like it's I think it's the best light I've ever cut. I cut a 137, which I'm not a great drag racer. Some people do a lot better. A lot of people do a lot better, but 137, not too shabby.
That's pretty good for a big heavy truck, because the rollout on these trucks is not like a race car rollout. It takes longer and the tires are bigger, so it takes longer for them to actually cross the beams. So yeah, that's pretty respectable from what I've seen in a Pro Tree and the diesel. Yeah,
and so I was able to cut a 137 to his 175. And so then I got a little bit ahead of him, and I kind of just stayed ahead of him. I think he cut a better 60 foot than me, but I stayed ahead of him for the most part. And I was actually pulling on him a little bit at the very end. And I was like watching the 8th mile marker come up, and I was like, okay, I'm feeling good, because I feel like I treat him, but I'm like, I'd be really dumb if I broke out right now. So I let off at the last second. And Will said,
which is good. A lot of people don't have that awareness to let out if they're ahead that far.
Like this guy over here one time.
Anyway, which Will told me I should never let out. Always just hit the brake. And I did not do that.
I do like the brake as well, but
the brake is better. Yeah. But whatever. I did what I did. I did it. Like whatever. And I was just watching it. I was like trying to time it. And I think that's one thing nice about driving a hot street truck is like I think a lot of people will be like, oh my gosh, this like so much is happening, whatever. And I'm like, yeah, this feels pretty normal. Like it's obviously more than normal, but it's not out of the realm. But anyway, so I was like looking at I was like watching me, like him on my left side there, and I was watching the lights come up, and I was like, okay, I let off, and I ran a 592 to his 5902. So looking at like the reaction time and everything, the margin of victory was 0.0187. So I beat him by with the reaction time and everything, I beat him by 3 feet. But I was like running more math. If I was 4 feet more forward, I would have broke out. So I had a 7-foot window and I basically nailed it. So I'm like, dude, that's awesome. Like I never drag race. I'm not a great drag racer. People ask me, like Kyle Biazio was like giving me crap on my first pass. He's like, you have 1,800 horsepower and you weigh 4,900 pounds. Like, why are you running 590s? I was like, bro, I don't care what the truck's capable of. I should not be in this class.
After you do that pass, all the guys at the starting line are like, you know, Meyer's back there talking about he ain't no drag race. He's, I am buying it. He just chopped down the tree. He just won him. He's like, yeah, that guy can race just fine. Like, I ain't buying this line. I ain't no drag racer. I think you've lost that right to claim that. I think he's gone, dude.
I've never done that great before. like I think it's probably a one-off. Like next time, watch, it's going to be just terrible. But it was really fun. Like to me, the fun part was like, last time I raced the truck was in Montana last year. I put in so much different crap. I had a whole new system. And in fact, basically just not only did it just like work from the get-go, but it kept working.
Yeah.
And being able to look at data logs and get nerd out over all the different, you know, watching second gear pressures, third gear pressures, the different shaft speeds in the transmission. Like it was awesome. Being able to watch it all and have it all work. It was really cool.
Yeah, it was super fun to watch. I mean, it's fun to see your time pop up on the screen, which was lower, like you had a slower time, and the wind lights come on because that means you won with the tree, which was a drag race. So that's like really rewarding to beat him there, and then to just manage
like a whole
lead.
shot win. You got a whole shot win,
and you manage the lead appropriately. You let off like it's like that is a great race, and I'm just watching it. It was the best race of the weekend as far. I mean, it was just dead nuts the whole down way.
That fact that he was on my fender the whole time, it felt awesome. And those are fun. You could see him started to catch up a little bit, like on the 60-foot. He definitely did better. I think he cut like a 1.4 something. I think mine was like a 1.52. Like it wasn't great at all, but he was catching up a little bit, and I started pulling on him. I'm like, hell yeah, like this thing's got it. But yeah, no, it was really cool. It was a fun race. I was like, dude, if racing's this, I want to do more racing.
Yes, this is racing.
I'm glad you caught the bug.
Will's been trying to get you in a real race for you. You got to have you need a battle. You need a race side by side down the track. You need to understand it. Because once you have that, it's like, okay, dang, there goes all my money.
Which another funny like sideshow on that is I was talking to John later, like on the drive back, and he's like, yeah, I saw you didn't listen to a dang thing I said. I was like, what? He's like, yeah. I was like, I told you not to touch crap, and you ran a 560. I was like, okay, let me just slow you down there. Hold on. I was like, I didn't touch anything. Like that was just me smoking out the light. He's like, oh, that does make more sense. He's like, I told this kid to not touch a damn thing, and now he's out here running 560s. Like, why? Was it worth it?
Yeah.
When I first saw it, I was like, dang, he beat me. I was like, it didn't look that fast. I was like, maybe it's just deceptively fast out the back because it looks slow off the starting line.
Yeah, I know.
And then the mile per hour was high. I was like, how did he? I didn't see him hit the brakes. My brain, I was still like this, but he never had thought that it had smoked the light.
Yeah.
And then when you showed me the slip, I was like, oh.
Yeah, Todd was like, heck yeah. And I just like threw the slip at him. I was like, yeah, it's not that cool.
I was like,
Will, same story. He's like, heck yeah, you ran. I was like, nope.
Look at the numbers. Oh, yep, there it is.
Yeah. As much as I'd love to think that I ran that fast.
Yeah.
Back in the day, though, a forum warrior would post that and be like, dude, I got the diesel record this weekend. Look, I ran a 560. And the real racers would be like, nah.
You did not get a .960 foot. I'm sorry.
They're like, oh, you 60 foot like a pro mod or top fuel? Yeah.
Amazing.
Very likely.
I mean, top fuels run 0.8s, but still, on a bad run, they'll do 0.9.
Yeah, it's like, good job. So, Anyway, guys, I anytime we do videos like this or podcasts like this, we hope you catch the bug. We hope you decide to go out to a race somewhere, do an event. There's an event in a couple of weeks in Richfield, Utah. The Diesel.
There's a couple dynos coming up. There's Weekend on the Edge has theirs, or Weekend Edge has theirs. Weekend on the Edge, and then
that's up in Ogden, Utah, and that's a dyno event.
Yep, and Brayton Williams is doing the Diesels in the Mountains up in Richfield.
That's kind of industrial injections event there. Yep.
And then I think there's actually one in Cedar, just randomly.
Oh yeah,
the Diesel fam has one. They're doing the Diesel
dyno show here in Cedar. Yeah. It's not us. We're not. Yeah, we'll be there. I mean, we're with some trucks on or something like that. But I mean,
we'll try to put on a show. But yeah, they were doing that,
and then there's World Finals for Texas. Yep. So there's a few more things happening. The month of September is gonna be pretty busy, honestly. So if you're in Texas or Ogden or anywhere near Richfield, Utah, which nobody's near there, so that's you gotta drive to that one.
Very few people are near Richfield, Utah.
So yeah,
or if you're gonna be in Ennis, Texas, like September the 12th, is that 13th weekend
or something like that? Yeah,
12th, 13th, that Friday, Saturday. The World Finals are there.
I feel like the things are changing. I feel like people are getting more excited about motorsports again. Like the world's changing, economy's changing, and so this event was a little bigger than last year. I feel like more people, more spectators, a little bit, and this one in Phoenix, the beginning of the year was way bigger. So I think get out to these motorsports, get these events. There's more people there. It's always super fun. We got to meet a lot of people who watch the podcast, watch the channel. Get to meet them, talk with them. It's always so fun to see fellow geeks out there.
People ask tons of questions about cylinder heads this weekend. I talked to guys about Power Stroke and Cummins heads and injectors, and come to these events. It's a great chance to learn. If you're curious or hungry for more knowledge about how this stuff works, there's so many great people to bounce ideas off of at these events.
Yeah.
For sure. And that's another thing too. I feel like we say it a lot, but there is a class for everyone.
Oh yeah.
There's some people there that they pitted next to us and they thought they could only run the test and tune. We're like, no, enter your truck. Most of the expense of the event is going to the event.
Oh yeah. The classes are cheap.
Yeah. We had a guy that pitted next to us that he ran Sportsman and 770, and he just was dual lapping his truck, hot lapping it, and just having a blast. He's learning racing, and the truck worked great for him.
And he's another tech card was $100, but he got to do twice as much racing.
Yeah, he probably had more fun than any of us.
Yeah, he got way more runs in.
He got way more runs. He was getting the tree down, learning drag racing, and that's how you start. I was the dum-dum that started where I trying to think I could just run 590 out of the gate. I wish I had started at a 770 or something. You can just get the motions down, get the muscle memory down, understand the tree and how it works. Yeah. Because it's funny because the stupid mistake I made with the tree and not being fully lit, he had made the round prior. And he looks a lot less dumb doing it in 770 than I do. Shouldn't you know something by now?
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, he did that. And then another guy brought his basically stock Ford and ran it in the what do you call it? Sportsman class. Yeah. You can run a bone stock vehicle in that class
and have fun.
They are the most competitive too.
The winningest person that always wins, Robin Ridgway, has a 7.3 Power Stroke that runs 17 seconds in a quarter mile. Now 8th mile, she's more like a 10 second, but still that is not a special vehicle. It's consistent and she knows it. She's an excellent driver, but you don't need a fast vehicle to win and be competitive. She's just good at
and as much fun as the pull in the seat going fast is fun, but the funnest part of that race, my final race, was just being fender to fender
is the key. You get that race, it is a blast.
Yeah, it is great. It's so much fun.
Honestly, I wish people could understand that. I race motocross, very poorly. I'm bad at it. I'm big and I'm fun. But I said, I'm happy to come in last. If I find somebody who's around my skill level and we can battle the track, just like on the drag race, if you have someone around you and you're battling, that's the fun of it. Doesn't matter. I don't care if I win. Do not care. I just have fun. The fun part is having somebody next to you and you're racing them. And I'm so glad you got to do that. And that happens a lot in sports. Most sportsman races are that way, where you're right next to somebody. So,
but sportsmen are actually, I think they're kind of funner because you have different dial times.
Yeah.
And so either you are leaving ahead of them and you're watching them, seeing are they going to catch up, are they not, or you're having to run a guy down, and that also is a lot of fun.
Yes,
where you're dude, am I going to get him in time?
So if you have a truck, come out and play summer, run a dyno, go to the sportsman classes.
Or car. It's just going to be diesel powered at these events.
Yeah, there's cars. I really want the motorsports to grow back what it was. And we're doing this because I hope you guys will do it. Go play, come see the people there, come see us, come see other people you know on social media or whatever. And we want this community to grow. Honestly, we do. So I hope to see you out there, some event sometime soon. And please like, subscribe, share this content, and we'll see you next time, Power Gym Podcast.
Thanks, guys.